Shalom, shalom, Shaul Dog here, once again with your weekly drosh. And, this sort of wraps up the saga of Yosef, and it establishes the 12 tribes of Yisrael. The whole clan, the whole family, throughout the generations, went through their own adventures and whatnot. But this is where the 12 tribes are named and established. And, let's just get right into it. This is Parashah 12, Vayechi, which means he lived. Chapter 47, verse 28 through chapter 50, verse 26. This is the end of Genesis and Bereshit, or whatever you want to call it. We're going to be starting with Exodus next week. I mean, the time's just flying right by, isn't it? But Yaakov lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. Thus, Yaakov lived to be 147 years old. The time came when Yisrael was approaching death, or Israel was approaching death. So he called for his son Yosef and said to him, "If you truly love me, please put your hand under my thigh and pledge that out of consideration for me, you will not bury me in Egypt. Rather, when I sleep with my fathers, you are to carry me out of Egypt and bury me where they are buried." He replied, "I will do as you have said," he said. "Swear it to me." And he swore to him. Then Israel bowed down at the head of his bed. Then a while later, in chapter 48, someone told Yosef that his father was ill. He took with him two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Yaakov was told, "Here comes your son Yosef." Israel gathered his strength and sat up in bed. Yaakov said to Yosef, "El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, saying to me, I will make you fruitful and numerous. I will make of you a group of people, and I will give this land to your descendants to possess forever. Now your two sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt, are mine, Ephraim and Manasseh. They will be as much mine as Reuven and Shimon are. The children born to you after them will be yours, but for purposes of inheritance they are to be counted with their older brothers. Now as for me, when I come from Padan, Rachel, I've got a cousin named Rachel, and I just want to say Rachel, but the pronunciation is Rachel. Rachel died suddenly as we were traveling through the land of Canaan, while we were still some distance from Ephrat. So I buried her there on the way to Ephrat, also known as Bethlehem, or Bethlehem. Then Israel noticed Joseph's sons and asked, "Whose are these?" Joseph answered his father, "They are my sons whom Yahweh has given to me." Yaakov replied, "I want you to bring them here to me so that I can bless them." Now Israel's eyes were dim with age, so that he could not see. Joseph brought his sons near him, and he kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, "I have never expected to see you even ever again, but Yahweh has allowed me to see your children too," which is a blessing to him. He just, when you write your son off as dead and then all of a sudden you get to see your grandchildren, from that son, it's really, really cool. It doesn't matter who you are, unless you're a cold-hearted SOB, but Joseph brought them out from between his legs and prostrated himself on the ground. Then Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand, towards Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand towards Israel's right hand, and brought them near to him. But Israel put out his right hand and laid it on the head of the younger one, Ephraim, and put his left hand on the head of Manasseh. He intentionally crossed his hands, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. Then he blessed Joseph, "The God in whose presence my fathers Abraham and Isaac lived, the God who has been my own shepherd all my life long to this day. The angel who has rescued me from all harm, bless these boys. May they remember who I am and what I stand for, and likewise my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, who they were and what they stood for. And may they grow into teeming multitudes on the earth." When Joseph saw that his father was laying his right hand on Ephraim's head, it displeased him, and he lifted up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head and place it instead on Manasseh's head. Joseph said to his father, "Don't do it that way. My father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know that, my son. I know it. He too will become a people, and he too will be great. Nevertheless, his younger brother will be greater than he, and his descendants will grow into many nations. Then he added this blessing on them that day. Israel will speak of you in their own blessings by saying, may Yahweh make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. Thus he put Ephraim ahead of Manasseh. Israel then said to Joseph, you see, I am dying, but Yahweh will be with you and will bring you back to the land of your ancestors. Moreover, I am giving you a Shechem, shoulder ridge, share city of Shechem, more than to your brothers. I captured it from the Emery with my sword and bow. Now, see, we see this, we've seen this a few times, okay? We've seen this with Esau. We've seen this, here, okay? The youngest one is blessed over the oldest one, okay? The last becomes the first, and that just made me reflect back on the Parashah, okay? Now, see, I'm normally not doing this with the Torah portions. I try to stay strictly with Torah. But a lot of you who are trying to break into Torah and understand the Torah, well, you have to understand the Parashah is a reflection of Torah, okay? The Parashah is not a book in of itself. It is just a reflection of what was already written. Okay, and here's a little proof to it, okay, because that's the way Yah established it. The last will be first and the first will be last, okay? So we'll go into Matthew 20 and then we'll go into Matthew 19, okay? And we're going to start off verse 1 through 16 in Matthew 20. Now this is important because it's very relative to what happened here with the blessings. Blessing the youngest over the oldest. This happened a couple times already in Torah, and we're going to see this happen, or actually prophesied again here, okay? The kingdom of heaven is like a farmer who went out at daybreak to hire workers for his vineyard. After agreeing with the workers on a wage of 1 denarius, the standard daily wage, he sent them off to his vineyard. Then on going about 9 in the morning, he saw more men standing around in the market square doing nothing, and said to them, you, go to the vineyard too. I'll pay you a fair wage. So they went. At noon, and again around 3 in the afternoon, he did the same thing. About an hour before sundown, he went out, found still others standing around, and asked them, why have you been standing around here all day long doing nothing? They said to him, because no one hired us. You too, he told them. Go to the vineyard. When the evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, call the workers and pay them their wages, starting with the last ones hired and ending with the first. The workers who came an hour before sunset each received a denarius. So the workers who came first expected that they would get more, but each of them also received just a denarius. On receiving their wages, he began grumbling to the farmer. These latecomers have worked only 1 hour while we've borne the brunt of the day's work in the hot sun. Yet you have put them on equal footing with us. But he answered one of them, look, friend, I'm not being unfair with you. Didn't you agree to work the day for a denarius? Now take your pay and go. I choose to give the last worker as much as I'm giving you. Haven't I the right to do what I want with what belongs to me? Or do you begrudge my generosity? Thus, the last ones will be first and the first last. See? I mean, this is a reflection of the Torah. And, when you're reading the Torah, you're conditioned into this, okay? It basically says you're not too late. If you're last, you're not too late, okay? If you're first, well, you're not too early, okay? Basically, every man is created equal. Everybody is on the same footing, okay? In the eyes of Yah. Now, in the eyes of humans, they exalt other people and everything like that, lift people up higher than others, and some people lift themselves up higher than other people, but, in Yah's eyes, we are all the same in the kingdom, okay? There's no one man greater than the other. It doesn't matter who you are, and that's one thing that I catch a lot of flack for whenever I'm speaking the truth about, like, Christmas, and the fact that it's basically a satanic ritual. It's a pagan, satanic, phallic ritual. You're bowing down to a tree, which is actually a phallic symbol of the penis of Nimrod. Well, I get a lot of flack for speaking that truth, but the fact is, it is truth. I don't think I'm better than you because I don't do it. I'm telling you just so you can make the decision not to do it and you can come closer to the Father. That's the reason why I say it. But let's go into Matthew chapter 19, verse 23 through 30. Then Yeshua said to his Talmudim, yes, I tell you, that it will be very hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Furthermore, see, he's exalted himself and people exalt him above others. Okay? Furthermore, I tell you that it is easier for a camel to pass through a needle's eye than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. When the Talmudim heard this, they were utterly amazed. Then who, they asked? Because they're Talmudim, they were humans. They were used to the pop culture of the time. And the rich people, well, they were held in higher regard. So, of course, they're surprised. They're amazed. They're like, what? These guys are great here on earth. They're great men and everything else. They weren't quite seeing the kingdom focus, But then they said, like I said, then who, they asked, can be saved? As in, wow, if this rich man can't be saved with all of his money. Yeshua looked at them and said, humanly, this is impossible. But with Yah, everything is possible. Kepha replied, that's Peter, look, we've left everything and followed you. So what will we have? Yeshua said to them, yes, I tell you that in the regenerated world, when the Son of Man sits on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones and judge the 12 tribes of Israel. See, this also reflects right back here. Okay, and that's what this whole Parashah is about. That's why I went to this. But you'll judge the 12 tribes of Israel. Everyone who has left houses, brothers, sisters, father, mother, children, or fields for my sake will receive 100 times more than he who will obtain eternal. I botched that one up. Let's try this again. Everyone who has left houses, brothers, sisters, father, mother, children, or fields for my sake will receive 100 times more, and he will obtain eternal life. But many who are first will be last, and many who are last will be first. It's basically what you do here on earth. If you put yourself last, you hold Yah's Torah, his scriptures, his commands over everybody else, including people in your family on this earth, over all your possessions. If you're having a hard time getting a job because you are obeying the Sabbath rule, and most of the places say mandatory weekends, you have to work Saturday. Well, you don't. Because Yah's going to provide for you. I'm in that situation right now, okay? But, if you leave that stuff, if you just say, well, if you hold to Yah's standards and don't cave in to your family standards, your friends' standards, society standards, your employer's standards, and everything else, if you hold to Yah's standards and don't let them drag you away from the Sabbath and from the feasts and everything like that, and obeying the Torah, don't let them bring pork to you or, any other type of swine or any kind of tripe foods. If you keep to Yah's Torah, you're going to be brought first because you're forsaking all this other stuff in the world for Yah and his Torah. Okay? And Yeshua is the living Torah, so you're forsaking this for Yeshua. And when you do this, when you forsake all of that for him, that's more of a sacrifice than the rich man who is hoarding all this stuff and exalting himself and lifting himself up to false greatness and everything, and not forsaking anything for Yeshua. You see how that works? But then we get into the establishment of the 12 tribes. I'm just making sure. I record this on an audio recorder, and then I do it on the video also, just so I have a backup of the audio, because my video sometimes doesn't pick up the audio, so I have like a little backup. And so if you see me glancing over this way, That's what I'm doing. I'm watching my other screen here. So just making sure I didn't hit something on the keyboard to make it stop recording, because that's a real pain when that happens. Then I have to do editing and stuff. But anyways, we see, okay, they're going to judge the 12 tribes of Israel, and it's just really cool how this all comes together. You know, how first is last, last is first, and everything. We have the 12 tribes, all that stuff in the book of Matthew, and it reflects directly back to this Parashah, the final one of Genesis. So let's go on to chapter 49, verse 1. Then Yaakov called for his sons and said, "Gather yourselves together, and I will tell you what will happen to you in the Acharit Hayimim. Assemble yourselves and listen. Sons of Yaakov, pay attention to Yisrael your father. Reuven, you are my firstborn, my strength, the first fruits of my manhood. Though superior in vigor and power, you are unstable as water. So your superiority will end, because you climbed into your father's bed and defiled it. He climbed into my concubine's couch." Now, I didn't cover that in previous Torah portions because I wanted to get to another part of it. So we're just going to have to catch the whole reason why he said this next year. But anyways, Shimon and Levi are brothers, related by weapons of violence. Let me not enter their council. Let my honor not be connected with their people. For in their anger they killed men, and at their whim they maimed cattle. Cursed be their anger, for it has been fierce, their fury, for it's been cruel. I will divide them in Yaakov and scatter them in Israel. Yehuda, your brothers. Now see, we get to Yehuda. This is one of the tribes of Yisrael, okay? Now, Yehuda, that is Judah. We get Jew from Judah, okay? Today's terminology, we don't have the Israelite and foreigner. We have Jew and Gentile in its place, okay? But all Jews are not the 12 tribes, okay? That's one tribe out of the 12 tribes of Israel, okay? So I just want to let you know that. Basically, the church has categorized all of the Israelites from all the tribes as Jews, just so they could point the finger and persecute and everything else. And well, you know, they threw Jews to the lions. They didn't throw Christians to the lions. But anyways, Yehuda, your brothers will acknowledge you. Your hand will be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons will bow down before you. Yehuda is a lion's cub. My son, you stand over the prey. He crouches down, stretches like a lion, like a lioness. Who dares provoke him? Who dares provoke him? I'm really screwing this up, aren't I? Who dares provoke him? The scepter will not pass from Yehuda, nor from the ruler's staff from between his legs, until he comes to whom obedience belongs. And it is he whom the people will obey. Tying his donkey to the vine, his donkey's colt to the choice grapevine, he washes his clothes in wine, his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes will be darker than wine, his teeth whiter than milk. Now, a lot of the black Hebrew Israelites look at that and say, we're the true Jews. His eyes will be darker than wine, his teeth whiter than milk. But they sort of lose the concept of they're not the only dark-skinned people on the earth. Now, I have absolutely no doubt that the ones of the African race, okay, they are one of the 12 tribes, or maybe even 2 of the 12 tribes, but they're not all of the 12 tribes. They're not the original Israelites. They're not, in a whole, okay? They do comprise. I mean, we have the Asians who are obviously from a different tribe, okay? We have people from all around the world, all different races and everything else, who are descended from the 12 tribes. Now we hear the fan going on the computer here. Looks like I'm going to have to cut this off soon. Zivlin will live at the seashore with ships anchoring along his coast and his border, Zidon. Yisachar is a strong donkey lying down in the sheep sheds. On seeing how good is settled life and how pleasant the country, he will bend his back to the burden and submit to forced labor. Dan will judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan will be a viper on the road, a horned snake in the path that bites a horse's heels, so his rider falls off backwards. I wait for your deliverance, Yahweh. Gad, a troop will troop on him, but he will troop on their heel. Asher's food is rich. He will provide food fit for a king. Naphtali is a doe set free that bears beautiful fawns. Joseph is a beautiful plant, fruitful plant, a fruitful plant by a spring, with branches climbing over the wall. The archers attacked him fiercely, shooting at him and pressing him hard. But his bow remained taut, and his arms were made nimble by the hands of the mighty one of Yaakov. From the shepherd, the stone of Israel, by the God of your father, who will help you, by El Shaddai, who will bless you with the blessings from heaven above, blessings from the deep lying below, blessings from the breasts and the womb. The blessings of your father are more powerful than any of the blessings of my parents, extending to the farthest and the everlasting hills. They will be on the head of Joseph, on the brow of the prince among his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf, in the morning devouring the prey, in the evening still dividing its spoil. All of these are the 12 tribes of Yisrael. And this is how their father spoke to them and blessed them, giving each his individual blessing. Now, we could probably go into an exhaustive search all through humanity and match up all of the prophecy that is in the blessing here to the people of the world. And I'm pretty sure that, if we were to painstakingly go through all of that, we would actually find which tribe comes from where for real. There's a lot of speculation out there and a lot of people saying they're from the tribe of this and they're from the tribe of that. But we know Yah's word is true. There's no lies in Yah's word. There's no, there's nothing in Yah's word that is that's even close to being false. See what I'm saying? So in Yah's word, we know that it's the truth all the way around. So when we see in these blessings and the specific meaning of these blessings, we could actually go back and look at the history from that point on and see the people from that point on, and we could tell which tribe is which, even though the seeds have been crossed and everything like that, and there's been a lot of interbreeding between tribes and races and this and that and everything else. Even though we weren't supposed to, that's what happened. So, everybody, I believe, has a little bit of one of the 12 tribes here, and they might even be mixed from the blood of a few different tribes. It's a pretty cool thing. But the emphasis on this Torah portion is the last will be first, the first will be last. And it's all according to how you humble yourself. And that's what it is. It's about being humble on this planet. I'm not talking about being a sissy, okay? Don't be a sissy, don't be a wimp, okay? But be humble. Don't exalt yourself, and don't exalt others above other people. Keep it on a level plane. Keep it on an even keel. Don't try to make yourself out like you're greater than other people, because Yah will just smack you right down. He's just going to knock you down and humble you for yourself. And it's only for your own good if you try to get too big for your britches. But, when you get into the covenant, you have all kinds of true information being filtered into you through Ruach HaKodesh, okay? All kinds of truth coming to you. All kinds of stuff that a scholar is never going to know. Somebody who takes a scholarly approach or academic approach to Scripture, they're never going to know those deep truths. It's because you are fed by the Holy Spirit. Now, see, Satan's going to take your flesh and he's going to say, wow, look, you know so much more than other people. You're so much better than they are. He's going to try to make your ego boost up and say, yeah, look at me. Look how great I am, But no, you have to resist that and constantly humble yourself. If you ever want to, exalt yourself over somebody, think twice, because that's not what Yah wants you to do. Because you're going to be made first, and among men, which means you're going to be last in the kingdom of heaven. Remember, seek first the kingdom of Yah and all of his righteousness, and all this stuff will be given unto you. Take care. I look forward to the next time.